I think you just have to go out and just do it while that fear is there. That's literally the only way to get rid of that fear. Is to just get up and do it. Hey y'all, it's Kiki. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, it's one of them days. It's gloomy outside and I have a headache again. One thing that has been on my mind like crazy lately is fear. Fear has like really been a theme for, I guess you could just say, this past week. And I don't want to come in here and be like super cliche and be like, oh, fear is an illusion. It's just something that's made up or something like that. Which I don't know if that's true or not, but regardless, fear is something that people feel, something that people experience, and it's something that I was experiencing for this past week. I made a commitment to myself when this year started that I would do way more than I done. I would do way more than I did in this past year. In 2023, I stayed in the house a lot. I didn't really socialize a lot. And I didn't really do all that I wanted to do for a number of reasons. But one of the main reasons was because I just, was feeling very fearful. I just didn't want to let this year go by and I look up and realize that I was doing the same shit that I was doing last year. Basically just operating and living life through fear. If you ask me what the fear is, I guess one, being perceived, which I don't really know if I really care about being perceived anymore. It used to be a fear, but I guess I got past it because I just realized that people are going to see you how they see you. There's something you can do about that. But I guess there is a fear of actually trying and something actually working out for me. Instead of giving it my all and like going 100% into whatever it is that I was doing, whether it be like YouTube or my job or just anything in general, I would be afraid to give my all because I felt like, okay, if I am good at this thing and other people see that I am good at this thing, then what is going to be like required of me in the future, I also had a fear of being afraid of having to leave people behind or growing a bit faster than other people. Just realizing that my growth is happening and then the people around me aren't growing, or they just aren't growing as rapidly. It wasn't that nothing is wrong with people growing at their own pace. That's totally fine. When you look up and you realize that the people around you aren't really growing simply because they don't want to grow, but you want that growth so badly, right? It's almost like I felt a bit guilty or just wrong for wanting more and wanting to do more and wanting to just expand in many different ways. So there was a fear there of feeling like these people are going to like frown on me or like, dislike me or even maybe stop loving me because I'm no longer in the same space that they are in. And I also don't want the same things that they want. And I'm doing everything that I can to make sure I get the things that I want and that I see the life that I want to live, and I see all of my dreams and the things that I've seen in my mind. I make sure I see these things come true in real life. I guess I kind of just feared growing past people, which kind of sometimes it stops me from doing the things that I want to do. But I heard somebody say that you have to put yourself in a room with people who are doing so well in life that your wins and your accomplishments doesn't sound like bragging. So I guess that's where I'm at with it right now. Regardless of what it is that I am afraid of, I know that the only option is to do it while that fear is there, because that fear it's not going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter how many books you read, how many prayers you send up, how many crystals you charge, or whatever it is that you want to do to try to convince yourself that the fear is going to go away. I think you just have to go out and just do it while that fear is there. That's literally the only way to get rid of that fear. Is to just get up and do it. I chose to do the 52 solo date challenge or trend that's going on where basically you just write down a bunch of dates and you put them in a jar or whatever, and then you pick at random what you're gonna do for that, for that particular date. And I don't know if it's gonna be the video before this. It might be the video before this one, but I actually kind of recorded a bit of my first solo date of 2024. I didn't really get much footage, so it's not really a great, it's not really great footage of the solo date, but still, I ended up going to the Science Museum. And when I'm speaking about fear, because I think I like to use the excuse of being an introverted person or reserved person to try to get out of doing things that I just simply am just afraid of doing. Because while it is very true that I am typically more introverted than, extroverted, and I am more reserved, however, I do enjoy going out, and I enjoy seeing things, and I enjoy seeing the world, and I enjoy interacting with people, I'm not gonna lie. But over time, fear became so much greater than my enjoyment, to the point to where I stopped trying to tell myself that I like doing these things, and I would just pull excuses out my ass as to why I wouldn't get out the house and I wouldn't go out and, make friends and things like that. So I ended up going to my first solo date, which was the Science Museum. And I went on a Saturday, right in the middle, not in the middle of the afternoon, maybe around like 2 o'clock, which it was still pretty packed. And I went by myself, and I took my time, and I enjoyed it. And it wasn't scary. Like, it's so crazy. It wasn't scary because my intention when I went was to just enjoy the exhibits and to just soak up as much knowledge, because I like science anyway. It was just to enjoy my experience at the Science Museum, that I was too busy enjoying my time that I wasn't thinking about being perceived or social interaction or fearing conversation and things like that. And plus, most times when you're at the Science Museum, everybody is there to do exactly what you're doing. That's to, learn, enjoy, and then go home. So I don't think anybody's looking to spark up any type of conversation. But I mean, it could be something totally different. Some people do spark up conversations, but it didn't happen for me at the Science Museum, and I'm okay with it. So I just know that I don't know where the next date is going to be, because like I said, I pull at random. But I also wanted to make sure that I am documenting my experience, to make sure that I'm documenting my experiences as an introverted person who rarely gets out, who is trying to now get themselves out into the world and enjoy as much as possible. So I noticed that a lot of the times when I have fear of doing some things, it doesn't even turn out as bad as I try to imagine it would. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we catastrophize and we think that, like, we automatically try to come up with so many scenarios so that when we get into that situation, we can somewhat be prepared, or somewhat us trying to control the narrative or whatever situation that we in. And I find that I kind of do myself a disservice when I do that, because I could think the worst possible scenario, and then I go, and then I'm extremely, like, almost underwhelmed, or just I realized that I was worrying for no reason, because I end up enjoying myself, or I end up actually, like, having way more fun, that it's like, okay, what was the point of me even sitting here biting my nails, shaking, thinking like something bad is going to happen, when the total opposite almost happens every single time. Of course, like, bad things happen in the world, but you're not gonna be able to predict when bad things happen. They just happen, and then life goes on. So to think that every single scenario that you come up with is gonna happen every single time, it's not gonna happen, for one. And two, I feel like that's somewhat bringing yourself stress, because there's no evidence. And I talked to my therapist about this, and she gave me this really great thing to, like, take on. When I'm sitting and I'm overthinking and I'm worrying about something that I have absolutely no control over, and I'm trying to predict the worst case scenario, there is literally no evidence that any of that stuff is going to happen. that any of the things that are in my mind is true anyways. So I'm sure that comes from some type of trauma or something, I'm sure. But literally there's nothing here that tells me, okay, this bad thing is gonna happen. Like nothing confirms it for me. So it's ultimately just me overthinking and just worrying and eventually stressing myself out about something that's not even gonna happen. When I think back to a bunch of situations where I overthought and I tried to like predict a bunch of bad things happening, almost none of those bad things happen. None of them. I can't even say almost none of them. Literally nothing bad happened in those scenarios when I would overthink, you know? So I can't tell you why I catastrophize or why we as people find ourselves like catastrophizing, which is, I don't know if I explained it, but catastrophizing is basically just trying to come up with the worst possible scenario. But I don't know why we do that. But like I said, it definitely probably has something to do with trauma. But because I'm so determined to lessen the fear that I feel, that's why I have made it my mission to make sure that I go on all of my dates that I set out for myself, my little solo dates, just to get out as much as possible, even even on days or on the weekends when I don't really have a solo date planned out or I don't have anything to do. I could still simply just go out to a park or walk around or do something instead of sitting in the house all day. So that's my mission, is to get out of the house as much as possible and to just experience life, because fear will stop you from experiencing. And I think one of the main things that a lot of us, not even a lot of us, I think one of the main reasons we are here is to experience life however we see fit. So standing in the house is not an experience. I don't know. I feel like I hit somebody in their chest when I say that, but I'm saying it again. Sitting in the house is not an experience, babe. Okay, you done read every book in your library. You done read every book that you bought from Barnes and Noble. You have scrolled through TikTok for 4 hours straight. Go outside, okay? Even if it's cold, get you a beanie, get your coat, get your boots, and go outside and just for a good 30 minutes to an hour. That's all you need, babe. Go and get you some vitamin D. But for me, it's just extremely important for me to get past fear because it just stops you from living life. And I ain't got time, girl. I'm 25 and all the way live. I'm trying to be outside. You hear me? I cannot worry about other people because other people have nothing to do with me. As far as like their perception and how they view me and how they feel, I can't do nothing about that. And nor am I going to try to spend a lot of my time on earth trying to convince or change or prove something to someone to get them to, you know, alter how they see me or change their opinion about me. I don't care. And I'm glad I finally don't care. It took me a while to get to this place, but I don't care. So I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to go where I want. And I'm going to spend as much time doing it as possible, as long as I'm not bringing harm to anybody around me or anybody. As long as I'm not bringing harm to anybody on the planet or myself, I'm fine. But that's all I have for my personal experience when it comes to fear and just how I go about life. If you have been someone who has like experienced fear, or if you're somebody who you don't feel fear, you just go out and you're just this person who just takes risks and you really don't care. You will speak to just about anybody. You will go just about anywhere with no care in the world. Please tell me how your experience is. It's this guy on TikTok that I follow. His name is Raymonte. And Raymonte is probably the fearless human being I ever know. He will go up to just about anybody, camera in their face, and say whatever he wants. And it's never anything rude, but like he'll go up to like an older woman and be like, "Yo, Bob, it's fine." I know y'all heard him say, "Yo, Bob, it's fine." It's crazy, but anyways, he's just a very fearless person. But if you are somebody who has experienced fear and you have gotten over it, please leave a comment down below. And if you are somebody who rarely ever feels fear, or you just rarely ever, you don't care, or you just don't even feel any, like have a feeling of embarrassment, let me know. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.